good morning, and good afternoon. I sound like oh, it's Hey, Jaden, Tanya, Cheryl, Fairy Dragon is her stash. Hello, lovelies. Julie, hello. Hi, Holly. I sound great. Yeah. Wait. Enzo has told me he's got lots and lots to talk about today, so that'll save my voice a little bit. I was saying to Enzo that I'm kind of fine at first, and then if I'm talking too much about grib it, but we'll get there. I'll get back to normal. Hey, Haw. See, I'm a bit high pitched, aren't I? I'm a bit high pitched.
You are a little bit high pitched.
A little bit. But yeah, I've got plenty of water, so I'll just drink my water and keep everything happening. Oh, it's nice to see everybody. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, I've missed our little chats. Well, I've only missed one technically, I suppose, haven't I? Well, technically once. And I did you see my last episode, Enzo, the Black-Eyed Children one?
I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I've been a little.
Oh my God, that's it. You're fired. You're fired. I did because I couldn't talk. I used AI celebrity voices to do my narration. So I had there was a story in the 1950s about black-eyed children, so I used that old-timey news broadcaster's voice for that one. I had Keanu Reeves tell a story. I had Anthony Hopkins say something. Nicolas Cage told the big story. I had all these voices. So I think everybody liked it. But it'll be the next one. Hi, Glenda. And the next one will be me again. I haven't even started the next one yet. I've been very, very slack, but I've been awfully tired. So there you go. What was that? I watched the Black-Eyed Kids, and at first I didn't realise it was AI. I thought you had got audio of Keanu from some kind of doco he participated in. Yeah, no, it's just AI. You just, all these things I pay for to use, you just do the script, and you've got to, because it is AI, and I hate, my thoughts on AI, I don't really like it. But in this instance, I thought, look, it's fair enough. Everybody knows it's fake, and it's really not brain surgery to use AI. So I just typed in the script, and sometimes you just got to punctuate a bit differently, so the emphasis is on certain words, and then that's it. So there you go. Yeah. But I won't. As soon as my daughters find out I use anything AI, I'm in trouble, which is fair enough, I suppose. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Tanya loves being a doof darling. You are a darling. Oh, not long too, Tanya, till you come to Australia and we catch up. That'll be good.
Ooh,
yeah. Yeah, she's a New Zealand. She's a Kiwi, but she's coming here to visit family, and so we're going to catch up and have some nice lunch or dinner or, I don't know, something. I'll be on the mend by then. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Why are the kids anti-AI? Is this agenda? No, I think it's all round. When you think of what AI is, artificial intelligence, when it comes to the creative part of it, I was an art. I mean, my dad, I can paint, I can draw, I can do all those things, right? But my children are pretty gifted in the artistic area as well. I've got a brother who's got a band, so he's great with music. And I just find that I get it, because what the AI does is it reaches into whatever's on the net, pulls parts of it to make a picture, right? So in some ways, my children's argument is it takes away from people who really can do this work, this artwork. It's stealing, basically, and they're kind of right. So if Enzo draws a picture, I draw a picture, Julie draws a picture, Tanya draws a picture, we put it on the computer, we upload it to the net, then someone says, I want a picture of a little girl eating an ice cream, and it just so happens that all of us have done something like that. It can draw from all of our artwork and make a picture, which is, well, effectively stealing from us. So that's why my kids don't like AI, and I certainly know that's why the music industry doesn't like it for the same reason, because it's done the same way. So I'm not a fan. But in this instance, all right, I couldn't exactly ask Keanu Reeves. I'd love to, but I couldn't. So yes, but so long as you clearly put this is AI, this isn't real, and so long as you make it clear that there's not much, there's not much art or talent that goes into doing it. That's
Right.
my opinion.
The current stage of AI that we're at right now, nobody's losing their jobs. If the current state of AI, which is basically just a very advanced algorithm, it's not like HAL 9000 going to take over the ship and lock you outside kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, well not yet.
Not yet. But if you're stuck to the point where AI is going to replace you, maybe you weren't so good at your job already, if that's the case. But
yeah,
I understand the concern, though.
Yeah, and I agree with AI. AI is great in particular instances, I suppose. But then it's not exact either. So even in research, like I can type into what's it called, G something chat
GPT.
GPT. I can type, hey, can you, and I've done this and I won't use it anymore, and I'll tell you why. When it first happened and I've got the GPT thing, I typed in, hey, what can you tell me about X, Y, and Z? Because I was researching. And I thought, well, this could be a good way because it should reach into the internet, find some information and spit it out for me. And it does. Unfortunately, it just grabs stuff randomly, probably from Wikipedia
Right.
and all that sort of stuff. So it's not correct. Some is, but not all. So you can't rely on it for that. Other people get it to write speeches and things for them. I suppose if you're not able to do that, I guess that's okay. There's certainly some valid reasons to be able to use AI, but and as Ian pointed out, just yeah, um, it has its place, but its place shouldn't be in creativity. People, it's the humans that should still be able to express their creativity. And as Ian says, now, did you see how easy, if anyone watches my Black Eyed Children episode, and even Holly said, oh, I thought that was actually Keanu Reeves. I've used that and I put clearly it's AI, and, if you read the description and stuff, but I couldn't afford to pay somebody. Oh, I suppose I could have said, Enzo, here's the script, narrate it for me. I suppose I could have done that. But like I just
Not at all in William Shatner.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Don't worry, I might
on the way. Yeah.
Oh, I could get you to do that. But do you see what I mean? It's like an imitation, so people know. But yeah, in regard to audio books and stuff, if you don't have to pay a human to do it and you can type in the whole book, that's someone's job gone. Right. It's the same in the music industry. It's the same in the art industry. Like you can type into an AI thing, hey, give me a picture of a wombat drinking a cup of tea and sitting on a log. And it'll spit that out for you. Or alternately, you could ask a human, hey, can you draw me a picture of a wombat drinking a cup of tea sitting on a log, and I'll give you $5 or something. I actually got I don't know if it's here, but in my Black Eyed Children episode, hang on a second, I shall see, I'm sure I've got it on here, I'll show you. But I got my daughter to draw me a picture of a black-eyed child. I said, this is what I need. Can you draw it for me, please? Because I could have put it in AI and said, draw me a picture of a black-eyed child doing this. But I thought, no, the kids are right. I'll get them. Where is it? There it is. She drew me.
There's certainly some things about AI. Like for me, I can't draw a stick man without like a ruler and a protractor. But if I could use AI to make something quickly that to represent my thoughts on a certain thing like that, I think that's great. I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah, no,
It's not like me as a nobody YouTuber is gonna try and hire an artist to
that's what I
draw
mean.
something like that. So
Yeah, yeah. But yes, and that's what I mean. And I've done that myself, like when I do a Bigfoot thing, and I'll think, oh, but I'm trying to change my way on it a little bit, to just do more myself. And Holly is a school teacher. She's a school teacher. As a teacher, there's a lot of discussion around AI today. Kids want to use Chat GPT to write their assignments and don't understand how they learn. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Even if you're an adult, you've already been to school, and you know that you're not so great at English and grammar and whatever, I can understand why you would use that. But as a child, as a kid in school, it's really, really bad because they're not learning how to read, write, or anything else. They're just saying to a computer, do this. So, yeah, I'm not a fan.
well,
Hello,
for
Bill.
for
Hi,
those
Bill.
those for those kind of instances, I think that would be pretty apparent right away. If you're like during class, like, okay, everybody, today's assignment, write a 300-word essay on whatever, go. It's due by the end of class. You're going to see what their writing abilities actually are. If you give them an assignment, okay, next week, give me a 1,000-word essay on something, then you could do that. And if it looks totally different, you've got a problem. But I think actually, I know in college level classes they have an AI to detect if you're using AI to write your papers. the
Yeah,
professors
look,
in
I
school.
don't think that's just cheating. To
Yeah.
me, it's cheating. You don't use, when you're at school and you're learning shit, you don't cheat. You research, learn, and do it. That's what I think. So that's a little picture my daughter drew for me, because in the story I had to have a little girl that was covering her face, and then she lowers her hands to show that she's, I don't know, hang on, to show that she is. Why are you doing that? Go away. Um, sorry, to show that she's got black eyes. Hang on, where share screen, and then so she drew me that one too. See,
Yeah.
well, at least my daughter. Oh, for that I had to get her some McDonald's, so she got McDonald's. But I used her picture, so Holly says they do, Enzo, but it's an arms race. They need to try to develop AI that beats the AI detectives. Oh, hey, Heather. Heather helped me out when you were away. You knew that, didn't you? Oh, Heather's in my, you've seen it. Heather's in one of my, Heather and Betty. I don't know that Betty's here. I've been a bit slack here. I never thought, Bill, I should have put you in my Raining Men episode. I could make another one. I made two new like thank yous for anybody later or whenever, whatever. But I made two new ones. Enzo didn't like one of them. Heather loved it, Enzo. I showed Heather and she said it was funny. Heather's just, I think Enzo's too worried about me. But there you go. Yeah, go my video on. I'm going to sneeze. Phew! Phew! Phew!
Oh,
Oh my goodness!
goodness. Wow.
Phew! Oh my goodness me!
You're allergic to AI.
Oh, I am. See, yeah, yeah. AI definitely has its place, but I don't think it has its place in the creative world. That's just how I feel. A little bit, a little bit. If you need a helping hand, a little bit. Like, if you want to make a quick. Oh, Tanya, when did? Oh, Tanya, you're awesome. How did I miss that?
It just
Where
popped up.
is it? Where's it gone? Oh, you must have just popped up, did it? Oh, there it is. Well, you know what happens now. Which one do you want, Tanya? Raining Men or Enzo having a party?
All
You can
new
pick.
world premieres.
Yeah, all new world premieres. That's right. not AI related, but I found out long ago that using a sat nav will get you to your destination. Using a map will help you understand how you got there. Yes, yes. Well, I used to always use the map. We had books. I don't know what you would have called them in America, Enzo, but Raining Men. Okay. Um, in Australia, we had road map books. So
Right.
basically, A4 would join up to B6 or whatever, and so
I,
you'd look at
I
the map, pull over the side of the road, look at the map. Okay, so I'm going straight ahead here. One, two, third turn on my right, and sort of keeps it in your head. But yeah. All right, everybody. Premiere of the new, and I'll just the new thank you. Thank you again, Tanya, and enjoy. Look at
it's snow. I
Enzo.
don't have rain. So
So there you go. It's raining men. Yeah, I never thought, Bill, I'm going to make another one and pop you in there. I can always re-edit. I think it's still on my editing thing. Oh, you got to have a bit of a giggle, eh? Next thing I'll be accused of being sexist. Did you hear that? Wish it could rain near me like that.
looking for a downpour near you, Cheryl. Yeah.
Coming to a town near you. Weather alert. I couldn't help myself. Look at what Ian said. New kids on the block have let themselves go.
Yeah. New kids off the block. Yeah.
Dear. Oh gosh, I've been because I'm sort of I'm just sitting still a lot lately. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on the Y files. I love the Y files. I even
Great.
find that fish amusing. Oh gosh, yeah. Heather's got a flu. Heather's not well. She's laid up in bed, I think. So I hope she's listening to us banter about BS. What was I going to say? Oh yes, I've been watching the Y files, but I also watched. What's the name of that fellow Enzo that talks a lot about evidence about UFOs? A bit of a conspiracy. He was a doctor. He was a surgeon. Shit.
Stephen Lear? Not Lear.
Yes.
Gear.
Greer. Greer.
Yeah.
I watched an interview with him. I don't know how old it was. Probably a year, maybe. And he actually brought up a good point. I'll give him that because I've actually been thinking this for ages. So I do believe Bob Lazar, 100%. I believe him. All right. I do. And then if we add that into all the stuff with the congressional hearing and all the whistleblowers and all the people saying there's this and that happening here, there, and everywhere, I reckon that when we see the aircraft, because you've got to remember it's not the US government that has this shit. It's what are their names? Lockyer, the people that make airplanes. Lockyer, I think Boeing, but I can't be sure. I think Boeing's another one. It's all these private businesses, private billionaires that have. I reckon it's possible that those craft that the Air Force and what we might even see when people take pictures outside their, I reckon it's humans. I reckon they've surpassed the reverse engineering. They've made these friggin' things, and I'd be interested to see what ends up happening. I mean, I still think there could be alien life, but maybe not from outer space. Originally, I think still possibly here below the ocean.
One of the things I'll be talking about later, actually.
Oh, cool. Well, then we'll do that. But yeah, I've been just going down, like when you think about it logically speaking, and we all know what, all these big businesses are like, pharma and all that sort of thing. So we do know that people make crap and there's stuff that can be made. There's things that we can do for like free energy and all that. Even Elon Musk talks about that. But it's all, big businesses have purchased it and whatever, and you can't use it because, of course, then that affects oil and coal and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So I reckon it's possible that these things are built. We do know how to use them, but I don't know how we'll ever prove it. One of them will have to crash.
The theory nowadays is that if a UFO crashed somewhere, the military would go in and would cordon it off and contain it.
Lisa, hang on, sorry, Enzo. Lisa, be careful if you can still hear me. Go in the bathroom or the basement or the cellar or whatever it is you people do in tornado land.
Yep.
Crikey.
Well, living in Kansas, when we hear the sirens going off, we grab our cameras and run outside to get a picture of it.
And say, it's coming closer.
That's what we did. But the theory with the UFO stuff and capture technology and stuff like that is they take, the military comes in and contains the scene and like gets it, out of the public eye, but then it's immediately passed off to one of these private aircraft companies like, Lockheed and Boeing or whatever, because anything that belongs to the federal government, it can be FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, where you can put in paperwork saying, I want all the information about a recovery that happened at Roswell, New Mexico, or something like that.
You're not going to get it.
And well, they have to come up with good reasons why they can't give you, because they would have to say, I'm sorry, that's all classified, which actually tells you something. It's like, why would a weather balloon be classified? Things like that. But a private company like Boeing or Lockheed or any of those guys, they can't be FOIA'd. So they can do whatever they like with that technology. And then, several years later, oh, look, Boeing's got a new aircraft that can do amazing things now. Things like that. So that's the idea behind stuff like that.
Yeah. And Julie, Julie's always in pain. I don't know how she copes. I don't know how you do it, Julie. But yeah. Hi, Steph, Rosa. I'm just double checking who I haven't said good morning. Oh, well, good morning for me. Probably good evening for you. Oh, that's not me. That's the dog. She is so loud. Oh, look, everybody, you ready with the bell, Enzo? I got my little puppy all dressed up for everybody today, except his little, hang on, let's show everybody how cute you are. He's taken his legs out of his jacket again, Enzo. Hang on, everybody.
He's an skateboard.
He is, and I don't know how he manages it. He's only little. Come here. We're going to show everybody. Oh, all right. We ready? Here we go. Look at his little outfit. Can you see it's got little rockets on it?
Rockets, little saucers. That's great.
He's very unimpressed.
Yeah, he's not happy with that one.
No, he's not. But I thought, oh well, he's he's on the show. He's got to have something. Yeah, I know. He's looking at me as if to go, "You're a horrible mother."
This is torture.
I had to put. I've spoken about my cockatoo Popeye before. I had to put Popeye. I took him to the vet. He couldn't keep his head up anymore. Well, he kind of could sometimes, but he was off balance. And at night time, he was breathing funny, and he was sleeping in his food bowl to hold his head up.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, oh God. And then I still waited, and I kept giving him cuddles and just holding him like this. And I'm like, oh. because I'm selfish. The pain of losing a pet that you love, and I've had him for 11 years, and I saved his life when he got hit by the car. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I'm crying and I'm saying, you tell me, Popeye, what do I do? And in the end, I just thought, it's not fair. He can't even, like, so I took him to the vet and I bawled my eyes out. They gave him a little needle. I actually rang my local vet because it's just up the road, and I thought it's not so far for me to drive when I'm upset. But I asked them how they put the birds to sleep. Oh, we put them in we take them from you and we've got a little gas chamber and we put them in the gas chamber and gas them. And I went, oh my God. I said, no, no, no. Jeez. So I rang up the exotic animal vet and I said, how do you do it? And they said, you bring them in and we give them a little needle that makes them drowsy. And once they're, we check on them, and then we can give them another needle that actually puts them to sleep. And I said, no gas chamber. And she said, oh God, no. And I went,
no.
And I took him. I took him to the vet, and they gave him a little needle in his tummy, and I held him and cried and kissed him and cried and kissed him again, and then he took his last little breath, and I bawled really loudly, and then I just held him and anyway, they wrapped him lovely in like a linen cloth and put some lavender on it, and I brought him home, but I couldn't bury him straight away, so we went into the fridge in the garage, and I buried him yesterday. So he's got he's buried just here, just outside my window. He's buried, and he's got a lovely plant above him that springs out with white flowers, and I put a little statue of a cockatoo on there, and I've got a chair now so I can go out. But hello, Rawside. Hello.
A rough week.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Rose, I saw you pop up too. Sorry, love, I forgot to say hello. If I've not forgotten to say hello to anybody else, just go. You forgot to say hello to me, Joseph Moore. I haven't seen you for a little while. He's a cheeky one. Joseph's got a. Oh, he'll enjoy if he gets to see the Raining Men thing. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. Dear. Oh, it's nice to see people popping in. It's been, yeah. So what have you got to talk about for us this week, Enzo? Should I run the Enzo the Science Guy music yet?
Sure. We can roll right into that if you like.
We can roll right into it. Is everybody, I know, Jennifer, it's hard when you lose animals. Yes, you should be sorry, Joseph. Where have you been? Yes, and I will contact you soon. I might give you a little message today, Rawside, and we can have a chin wag at some point. See how long I talk for. But yeah, I'm just glad to be back. And it's nice to see familiar faces. And I did put up, I just want to mention him because I did put up a little memorial to Bay Area Ghost. Do you remember seeing Bay Area Ghost pop up in our chat sometimes, Enzo?
Yes,
Bay Area
I do remember that, yeah.
Well, that was my friend my friend Daniel. He got sick probably, I want to say a while ago, probably almost a year ago. He was very unwell and he was in and out of hospital. And he did want to try and catch up with me when I was in Virginia City, but he was too sick. And we were chatting back and forth for quite some time, not on here, on Messenger, and he was telling me how he was going. And, and look, he stopped answering my messages, and I thought, this isn't good, but I didn't see anything anywhere. And I thought, look, maybe he's just taking a, social media break because he hasn't been well. But then that's when the message popped up from his friend Dee to raise some money for his care because he was sick and he was in hospital, but he was coming home and they needed to organise some care for him. And I thought, okay, well, and I tried to contact him again, but he was obviously not in a good way. And then, found out that he passed away. And he was so nice to me. Like, he was so nice. He was supportive, and he'd often send me little messages when he'd see me rant on here. He'd send me a little message in my, and he liked birds. So anyone who likes birds. So yeah, it just sucks. But I suppose it's just sad. It happens to the nice ones, doesn't it? All right. Oh, sorry. I told you. I told you Joseph was cheeky. I asked him where he'd been, and that's where all men should be if they're married, unless we just let them out to go to work, and then when they come back, chain them to the bed again.
Wow.
Wow. Feed them just enough to keep their energy up. Julie says, yeah, you never. Usually a pigeon. He liked his pigeons. Okay. All right. So I better play Enzo's little song, and let's get this started. Hang on a second. What have I done? Oh, there it is. Oh, hello, Jonathan. Sorry, I'm just seeing people pop in. I just want to make. All right. That sounds like making more work for myself, Karen. What did I say? Holly, more work for yourself. Oh, because Holly's married. I understand. Yeah, actually, yeah, because then you have to bring the toilet to him or something. Oh, let's get off that. Oh, shape.
I wasn't going to bring that part up, but that's true. You got to deal with.
I've got. Hey, shape. Actually, shape. Don't go away. Just watch this. I'm going to let everybody see this because I want Shape to know that I've used his body along with Enzo's and a few others in a clip. You ready, Shape? Just watch it. Hang on. Here we go. What do you reckon about that, Shape? You were raining down on us all. Oh dear, and everybody got to see it. There you go. I just made a new one because whenever anyone was kindly giving me anything, I just ran out of. I got sick of showing the same ones all the time, so I was thinking about it yesterday and decided to make that one. But there you go. Yeah. Oh, hello, legally blind guy. Hello. Oh, yeah, I know, Joseph. Why not? A little bit of fun. All right. Okay. Enzo's chomping at the bit to tell us all about whatever it is he wants to tell us about. So here goes Enzo.
Who's that man in the fancy shirt? Who's the man with the cheeky smirk? Who has the answers? Who can explain? Well, it's Enzo the science guy. Enzo the science guy. Ask him how, ask him why. Enzo the science guy. Please, Enzo the science guy.
There we go.
I did show that clip to people at Contact in the Desert, and they thought it was hilarious. They loved it.
Well, it is, So there you go. I like it.
If you would go ahead and pull up my shared screen there, and we'll just jump right into it. Do you remember about a month and a half ago, we had the big solar storm that had the Aurora going off all over the whole planet?
Yes.
Well, as it turns out, Earth was not the only one to get hit by that. That wave continued out through the solar system and also hit Mars. And some of our rover probes that we have still working there on Mars were able to detect some of the changes in it. And it goes to show how the difference between Earth and Mars for future colonization and stuff like that, if we ever want to move to Mars on a more permanent basis, because Mars is a little bit smaller, gravity's a little less than Earth, and it also doesn't have the big magnetic field like we have here on Earth. It doesn't have that spinning iron core like we have because we're just a little bit bigger. Being a little bit smaller, it's not as big, so it's not very strong. And that deflects a lot of radiation and stuff like that from the sun and helps protect us here on Earth. On Mars, not so much. And we can visualize that by a couple of images that we got from the Curiosity Mars rover. This looks like a sandstorm.
It does.
Isn't.
What is it?
What it is you see these like blackened white sparklies up in the air here in the upper left, and the actual the image change you see on this little hill that's in front of the rover. Yeah. There's not wind blowing dust around. It's because there's so much radiation raining down through the very thin atmosphere on Mars from that same solar storm that we went through, that it's affecting the cameras themselves, where they're like little sparklies on the camera and stuff like that. So much so that it got intense enough after a few hours of it that some of they had to shut the cameras down because they were getting affected. And there's another image here. This should be a super clear image, but all that snow and even some of those streaks you see is from the radiation from the sun affecting the cameras themselves. And to put it in comparison, I have a highlighted area here where if a person had been standing next to the rover at the time this was all happening, they would have soaked up the equivalent radiation of 30 chest x-rays.
Holy crap. So you wouldn't be
That's a lot.
Yeah,
you would not be living bad well.
Wow.
But so I just found that really interesting that we had that, a month or so ago, and what we can see, with our own eyes, where it ionizes with other particles and stuff in the upper atmosphere and makes this a beautiful aurora, which they did have a little bit of an aurora over Mars itself. We don't have any pictures of it, but they could see little glowing patches in the sky through the rovers. But
I've got a question to ask you, Enzo.
Sure.
Sorry,
sure.
I know you're on a roll. Mars. And you were mentioning the core of the Earth. I was watching something the other day, and they were talking, number one, talking about our core is slowing down, our core is slowing down.
That's
and then I also saw that, whenever we see pictures of Mars, it's always rather red. It's just red.
Right.
It might have been the Y-Files I was watching, and apparently it's not. It was, yeah. And apparently, what NASA does, for whatever friggin' reason, is they make them look that way. In fact, Mars actually looks a little bit more Earth-like than there's colours to it. It's not just red, like the mountains.
To be fair, there is a lot of red. However, back in the 70s, a lot of the probes that we sent up, they did specifically put this filter on it to make it look more red than it actually was.
Yeah.
Because it looked so much like the American Southwest that they didn't want people to think that they just went out there with a camera and shot a couple of pictures in the desert and saying
it looked a lot like in Nevada, like Arizona.
Yeah.
It looked, So what's it mean with our core slowing down? Anything?
Well,
not only slowing down, now it's starting to turn the other way. That's what it was.
What it is we're in the middle of a magnetic pole reversal where the natural magnetic field that goes around the Earth, we probably all remember in high school doing the little science experiment where you had the bar magnet, you put the piece of paper on it, you put little iron filings on it, and see those little lines of magnetic, where the magnetic field was going from the North Pole to the South Pole of the magnet. The Earth has a very similar thing like that itself, because we've got the very center of the core of the Earth is a giant molten iron core, and it's spinning because, the rest of the Earth is spinning. And as that spins, that creates a much larger magnetic field that encompasses the entire planet. So that when these charged particles come from the sun, they hit that magnetic field first and they divert to the North Pole and the South Pole. That's what they're attracted to. And then they ionize the upper atmosphere, and that's how we get the aurora. It's raining science here, right? But so Now, on Mars, excuse me, because it's a
Hang
little
on.
bit small.
I've got one more question. Wait on.
Sure, sure.
If it's starting, the polar thing's starting to return the other way, so a reversal, does that mean toilets will start flushing opposite now? So Americans'
Well,
toilets will flush.
here's what's going to happen is we have a lot of evidence that the magnetic pole flipping, where the North Pole is and the South Pole is, where they flip and they just reverse positions,
Yes.
isn't a giant deal. However, there are some catastrophist theorists that have an idea where this could affect the Earth itself, where the Earth would physically flip. And that would be a major problem. There's some evidence to it, but it's certainly a heated topic where I don't know if it's necessarily true or not, because there would have to be a lot of things all happening at the same time. And I'm still not 100% sold on the mechanic of how that would flip. But basically what it is we're, because if you look at studies of where the magnetic, like North Pole is, for example, that's the one that everyone monitors because that's where most people live, is it floats around. It's not directly over the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole. If you have a magnetic compass in your hand, it's pointing at the magnetic North Pole. And depending on where you live, it may not necessarily be exactly north, because it kind of wanders around in a big circle around, the geographic North Pole. But the last several years, it's been wildly wandering around. And that's an indication that we're nearing this point where it's about to flip. And they've got, some recent studies where the spinning core of the Earth is slowing down a little bit because it's getting ready for that flip. So, because as it turns, because we're getting to the climax. Hang on, it's what it is.
The climax is coming.
where it is as it's slowing down a little bit, that creates the entire magnetic field to get a little less strong. It's going to get a little weaker and a little weaker. The big storm, solar storm that we experienced like a month and a half ago, wasn't really that strong for stuff that gets kicked out. If that had happened like 10 years ago, well, we'll say 15 to 20 years ago, we wouldn't have seen the kind of activity in the skies like we did with that. But because our magnetic field for around the whole Earth is a little weakened because it's getting ready to flip, that's why you just saw this craziness in the sky all over the world. Well, most of the world. So is it something to be concerned about? A little bit. There'll be some confusion. And over a very long period of time, much like those pictures on Mars where, this tons of radiation is just getting dumped straight through the atmosphere right down to the planet level. You can expect, people that are sensitive to that kind of thing. You'll probably, like in 20 or 30 years, you'll see an increase in like cancers and things like that amongst the world population. But it's not going to wipe people. It's not going to wipe out the human race. It's not going to do anything like that. It's not great, but it's one of those things.
All right. Now, the aliens that made us, the aliens that, they'll just come and tweak our DNA. We'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Here's some sunblock UV 2000 you can put on and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right.
But
do you understand too? If we come from, if there's a time machine and the aliens with the big eyes and everything are really us, but from the future, then that means that over time we're just all going to start to have to live underground, which means we too, in turn, will evolve or be tweaked into little grey aliens with big eyes.
Which, oddly enough, we're kind of going to talk about that here in a minute. So, but anyways, just wanted to share those couple of pictures because this is an indicator. This is happening right now on Mars. So.
This is the conversation that's going in the background. For any of the ladies who'd like me to make up a little calendar giveaway of Enzo, let me know. Oh dear. Oh, okay. Yes, and I hope she continues to chain you to the bed, Joseph.
Yeah, sorry for boring you.
No, Joseph.
But
Uh,
what this actually shows as far as Mars goes is for future, Elon Musk in a few years sending people there on a one-way trip to Mars. They're gonna have to build stuff underground or bring with them some type of radiation shielding
and
to
take
cover
methane
the
and
domes.
potatoes.
That's right. He's got to
Mm.
unfreeze dry all the poop and start growing those potatoes, and not
Yep.
hope he doesn't run out of ketchup like he did. It's a great movie.
Broadside has a question for you.
So there is a light argument as far as like the magnetic shit, like even like the solar storms we had like a month and a half ago that were really big. There's some indications that it does affect just the magnetic, everything that interacts with the magnetic field of the earth, which is a little bit of weather. It's not a ton. It's not like every time we get a solar storm that tornadoes pop up everywhere. And I'm sure someone could say, well, if you remember, we had that solar storm about that half ago. No, it's super hot outside. Yeah, it's summer. It's summertime. You're gonna get hot. Don't freak out. It just happens to be like the southern part of the U.S. right now is just on fire. It is super hot outside.
I heard that, but someone said it was like for Celsius 39 or 38, 39. To us here in Australia, that's kind of like just a normal summer. So
that's the thing, is it's hitting a little earlier. Usually we see that kind of stuff all over in July, latter part of July here in the US, but it's all hitting like right now. So people are trying to make connections with, there's not really connection. It's just hot. It's we've been the global warming people are like, see, we said it was hot. It's like, well, what about last year when it wasn't so hot? Well, this is this year. And it's like, well, wait a minute.
Oh, well, look, I mean, the only other worrying thing is the fact that indeed, we've got the ice melting where the polar bears live, and that's not very good. So things are going to change. Hopefully not quickly. Hopefully so we can adapt. But I don't know. What are you going to do about it?
For legally blind guy, we're certainly already Eloy. Just look at TikTok, and we will become Morlocks.
What's a Morlock? It's nothing like a warlock.
The Eloy and the Morlock were in H.G. Wells' The Time Machine story.
That's right.
Far future.
Yeah, I didn't
Eloy
like that.
where the Eloy were the peaceful, non-aggressive, almost like stagnant species that lived outside on the surface of the earth, and the Morlocks were the kind of troglodyte, stay in the dark, living underground kind of people. And as it turns out in the book, I don't know if they express it so much in the movies, but they were, the reason why they were going up and kidnapping the Eloys, they were eating them.
Eating them?
Yes.
I know. I enjoyed the really old movie. I did watch the new one.
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah, I did watch the new one with Guy Pearce in it, but I really liked the old one. I've gone blank on the actor's name who played him, but he was Australian as well. He was an Australian actor. So it's interesting that an Australian actor, that an Australian actor played the guy who invented, what's his name? The guy who invented the time machine? I don't know. But the original one I really liked. I wasn't too keen.
Yeah, they made a bunch of movies off of the H.G. Wells Time Machine. There was one in the 70s they did with Malcolm McDowell and Mary Steenburgen and stuff, where he goes like modern day San Francisco and falls in love with a girl, and Jack the Ripper was there.
Jack the Ripper, yes. I remember that movie. That was silly.
Oh, it was a great movie. I love that movie as a kid.
Oh, I was watching... we'll get back to the science stuff in a minute, Enzo, but because I've gone off on a tangent now, because we've got to get to the alien bit you were talking about. But Jack the Ripper, the I was watching something on that the other day. It was different news articles. Someone was reading news articles from back in the day. So after the last murder, Mary Kelly, I believe her name was, got murdered in her little flat, right? The owner of that little flat, after she was murdered, obviously body taken away, etc., the owner still wanted to rent out the little flat. The very bed that she was murdered on
Oh,
and the mattress, all right, the
just
very
flip it
bed,
over. Look at the blood.
seriously, I don't even know if they flipped it, probably did. But the very bed, the flat, there was still blood splatter on the walls that, I mean, they probably tried to clean it, but in those days it was probably brick, who knows. Yeah, they rented it out and continually rented it out. And the people that rented it, they were so poor. I mean, we've got to remember where these people lived at the time. And so the landlord allowed the people who rented it to take money. So people would come and pay to look in the room where she was murdered and look around. And there was still, when I think about it, apparently there were still things in there that belonged to Mary. There were odd things that people had kept, uh, just all odd things. Like there was still, it would have been so easy if we had a time machine that could go back in time to Mary's apartment where she was murdered, or, well, room. It was a room. It would have been a treasure trove of evidence to find out who actually did that. But I thought, and then I thought, well, is it macabre? Because now people pay money to go into haunted homes where people have either been murdered or whatever. So nothing's changed, has it? And I just sort of thought, how, just how ill. And finally, the building got knocked down, of course, and it's no longer there. But yeah, and a few journalists, it was the way it was written, because 1800s and early 1920s. I think it got knocked down in the early 1920s. But even the way the journalists wrote about it, and what they could see, so the blood, all different things were still there from Mary all those years later. I mean, eventually they probably did get rid of the old bed and the mattress, but for a time they didn't, because people paid money to come and see where Mary had been slaughtered. And I thought, ew. But then I thought, well, are we any different? Are we any different? Because now, someone was murdered there when? Oh, cool, let's go and investigate and see if we can find a ghost. So we haven't really changed, really. Just probably, I mean, I don't think I'd want to go in and see blood and guts and things.
Yeah, that's a little gruesome.
That's gruesome. I mean, that's what they were looking at. Like, let's see. And there was, I want to say, there was something else that was physical about Mary, and I should find those. I'm going to find those articles myself. But I just thought, wow,
that's
people. Yeah, it's a terrible photo, isn't it, Steph? That one, all those poor ladies. But yeah, and of course, no one will ever know who did it, and who knows? It could have been different people. It could have been some sicko saying he was the same one. It could have been anybody. But at the end of the day, I just thought that was really something I never knew. I never knew that people lived there. I mean, I figured people did live there after she was murdered, but I didn't realise. But they were so poor, I guess. It was a pound here or a couple of pound there from a journalist, and that was your food for the week or your rent, So, never mind. Tanya says something about Mary. Wait on, long movie. All right, what have you got for us next, Enzo?
Just real quick, since this is in the news, astronauts stranded in space due to multiple issues on Boeing's Starliner, and the window for return is closing. All right, relax, everybody. It's not that crazy. Last week, Boeing's version of like what Elon has been doing with his spacecraft, the Starliner, took a couple astronauts up to the International Space Station and had a few problems making it up into orbit and navigating its way to be able to dock with the International Space Station. The sort of like the guidance thrusters that kind of move the ship so that it can move around and orient itself to dock with the spacecraft and angle itself for reentry, things like that, is apparently leaking like a sieve and runs off of helium. And they're having a lot of issues troubleshooting it to figure out what the hell's wrong. And so they managed to dock safely, of course, last week with the International Space Station. The idea was they would be there for a few days, and then they would disconnect and do it like the normal Apollo style reentry into the atmosphere and come back. Well, they've delayed it about 4 times now because they want to take a closer look at a few other systems and stuff like that. They're not being overly demonstrative of what exactly it is that the things that they're looking at and how concerned they are. But right now they're shooting for the 26th, so about 4 days from now. But with 2 extra people on board the space station, the life support system on the space station can only support X number of people for X amount of time. Plus, there is a specific window for when they can land because of the way that the orbit of the space station is, and blah 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 blah. So really, what they're wanting to do is probably waiting for a proper alignment where they can disconnect and just go straight for the splashdown. I think is probably what they're waiting on, that perfect orientation, which apparently is here in a few days. So and worst case scenario, they hang out there for like another week or so when Elon sets his next ship up and they can catch a ride back with them, and then they just eject this thing off to deep space somewhere because it's kind of a junker. It's not looking. Boeing stock is not doing well. Not that it was doing well before with the other aircraft issues they've had the last several months, anyways. So, but it's not that dire that there's people trapped in space, kind of a thing. It's not that bad. That you might.
They can. Maybe it'd be a good chance to test out their UFOs that they've been making. Boeing can send up one of their.
They can just swing on up there.
Just swing on up in the Tic Tac. She'll be right.
Had another story pop last week that we didn't do the show, but it was something I wanted to talk about. Right here on CNN, Dyson Spheres were theorized as a way to detect alien life.
That's fake news.
Well, it's other places as well. This is the one that had the pretty picture on there. Basically, what it is scientists have determined, actually for a long time now, that if a other alien civilization around another star somewhere over time would build what they refer to as a Dyson sphere, he was an astrophysicist that's saying that over a period of time, once you get advanced enough, you would start building these structures around the sun to help collect energy from the sun and even make them gigantic enough where people could live on them and get it like in a spin kind of a thing. Sort of like a ring world is another, like an early version of what a Dyson sphere is for anyone who's ever played like the Halo games and stuff like that, where it's like a solid ring that goes around a star and that spins. So it creates like artificial gravity, and you can have basically the land masses inside of the ring, which would hold atmosphere and stuff like that. And you could have, water and land, whatever you want in there, because you're building it. So it would be like the equivalent of, several dozen Earth land masses around the sun the entire time, collecting energy from the sun. The big thing is energy, not just solar panels, but having the land surface to, for water, for, the biomes that live in water that require the sun, plus plants and stuff like that we would grow for food and things like that on the land masses part. But the theory is a very advanced species out there. We could look out with our telescopes and see like stars that have these giant structures in them because they move around. They have their own orbit around that star, and we would see the star like dimming and getting brighter and dimming and getting brighter as those pieces get between us and their star. And scientists recently came out with they have been looking for exactly that kind of thing, and they've let me see if I think I had it highlighted down here. They go into the whole history of it, where they have, well, I don't know where it is now. Basically, they've studied every star within about 1,000 light years of Earth, which is about like 3 million, I think, stars.
That's a lot of
And out of,
stars to study.
it's a lot of stars. We got a big galaxy, and just within 1,000 light years, that's actually not very far as light years go. But out of the millions of stars they've looked at, they've found 7 that fit this profile. Now, what exactly does this mean? Basically, what it is it's almost like there's a shell that they've built around their solar system where they're living on the inside of that shell, and being able to collect all the power from their sun, their star, and being able to utilize that to make more things and blah blah blah. Energy equals progress. As far as technology goes, the more energy you got, the more stuff you can make.
Can you see Giselle's question there?
Oh, I've read books about terraforming Mars. Do you think it would be possible? As far as like the last story we were talking about, the big problem is the magnetic field. If we sent people to Mars right now, they'd have to like live underground until they can build something that has like radiation proof type stuff is the big thing. As far as even back as far as the 70s, they had plans because Mars does kind of have like a north and a south pole, like polar ice caps, but it's so cold there and the atmosphere is so thin, it's not even water. I'm sure there is some water ice there, but a lot of it is actually carbon dioxide. So it's like dry ice. That's what that is. What they were thinking is to bioengineer like a plant that would grow on there that has a dark color, which would cause the stuff to melt, and then basically release all of those gases into the atmosphere, which would make the atmosphere thicker. But you still come back to the same problem with such a weak magnetic field. Every solar storm would strip away layers of the atmosphere. That's why it's so thin now. It's theorized that millions of years ago in the past, it was a little stronger and they had a little bit more of a robust atmosphere. But today, it's a little tough. So we would have to overcome those things as far as terraforming Mars, where you could walk around outside without a spacesuit on. The big thing is the magnetic field. Now, I'm not sure of what the mechanic would be to duplicate a spinning molten core of iron like we have here is what you would have to duplicate.
Well, if the gravity is not so great, doesn't it mean we can sort of float a little bit?
A little bit. It's not that much. It's not like how the moon is. Moon is like very light. Where we saw the other pictures of the astronauts kind of like skipping a little bit.
Giselle, you asked the question. Enzo answer. I was just going to say too. Hang on, I'll move that for a minute. I'm about to have a whinge. We'll go back to Enzo in a second. Here in Australia, I don't know if they're doing it anywhere else, and I'm not even sure if it's in all parts of Australia. But I got notified the other day. Now, on my roof, I have solar panels. So during the day, I think, is when my solar panels will feed, whatever I'm not using, will feed back into the grid. And they pay, I don't know, something stupid, 5 cents or something per whatever it is. Apparently now they're introducing a sun tax. That's right.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah. So for every whatever it is you feed back into the grid, so whatever power your panels feed back into the grid, you're going to be taxed. I think it's 2 cents. So you have and.
Your solar panels, you're doing them a favor by giving them the excess energy you're not using, and they're taxing you for it.
Taxing you on it, because that way it means that they're not paying you as much for it. And also, but there's a bonus. Wait, don't worry. Any power that your solar panels feed back into at nighttime when the sun's asleep, you won't be taxed on that.
Oh.
I'm like, what the?
How the does that even work?
Tax. I don't know if they've introduced it yet, but it's coming. I thought, what a load of... Maxwell's just said, Oh, and welcome Maxwell. He's a new subscriber. He's just subscribed. He's just found us, Enzo. He's waiting for them to introduce oxygen. Oh, don't laugh. That'll be the next bloody thing. Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh, and then they said the only way to avoid the sun tax is to get a battery installed. But of course, batteries are around about, I think, $9,000. But I'll
to
tell
run
you
your
what,
whole house, yeah.
yeah, but I'm tempted to friggin' take out a loan and get one just to up them.
Right.
Assholes.
Then they would come out with a battery tax kind of a thing. There's always going to be some way to try and money grab.
There'll be a battery tax. I'm still actually amazed. Ian will know this, and anyone else that's from England. When I was a little girl and television was a new thing, and it was in the 60s, to have a television, you also had to have a television license. So you had to pay.
They still have that, right?
Not here. But in England, yes, they do.
Yeah.
England does. Here, we kicked that out in the, I want to say early 70s. We got rid of that. That I think that was actually a bargaining point to vote in the new government. But I thought, isn't that ridiculous? So every time you brought a television, I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works in England, but yeah, to buy the television, you also had to get a license. So they knew if you had a TV or not. And I'm like, so yeah, but we don't have that. But in England, they still have it. I think that their argument is that's what funds the British broadcasting, the BBC. Quite frankly, I'd tell them to stick it up their ass, because I don't even watch regular telly. I use my TV to watch Netflix and things like that. But there you go. So yes, a sun tax. There you go. And end of my
outrageous.
Oh, it absolutely. I find it disgusting. Why not just turn around and say we're not paying you for the energy you spend? Like you're not, like, you know, why not just do that? But to actually tax the sun, like it's the sun. Well, not tax the sun. Tax us for using the sun. The sun, it's free. Right. Like
I know there are places in the U.S. I know California is one where they charge you for rain catchment. If you're collecting the rain that falls from the sky, if you have like a rain barrel at the end of where the gutters are in your house, they are somehow trying to charge you for it.
Oh yeah, that look, I'm not surprised, because I'm thinking that they might introduce that here too, because I was thinking of getting a tank. You can get ones that are sort of narrow and you can put them along a fence line, so it's not too thin. I thought I might get one of them to water my garden and to just to have fresh water, but I'll guarantee they'll bring in some kind of it'll be extra on your rates, or if you're going to have a water tax, you need to pay the local council X amount of dollars to be allowed to have it. Like a lot, yeah. Like if you build here in Australia, if you build something in your backyard, like a decking, like to put your outdoors things on, you've got to go to the council and get approval for that and pay. So yeah, won't surprise me any. Oh, good on you, Ian. Don't pay it. Stand up for it. I'm amazed you don't have to.
If they think they can get money from you, they will certainly try. That's the thing is, so somebody mentioned earlier, it's like, that's capitalism. No, this isn't capitalism. This is government taxation.
And look at that. What Creepy Doll's saying. So tax you for having a well on your property. Yeah, that's what someone who said that earlier. Someone said that about taxing oxygen. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think as a human race, I think
yes, you got to.
I think if everybody stood up and just kind of said, guess what? Like, everyone would have to group together. You couldn't just have a group of like 1,000 people say, I'm not going to do it. Everyone on the planet would have to say, you know what? No, right. Greedy electricity people, coal people, greedy oil
This is
people.
why it's important that you pay attention to like your local governments and what kind of laws they're trying to pass and things like that. Because that's how it gets started is, an individual county, town, county, state, the whole nation where they try and pass ridiculous laws. That's you're the person that's voting to keep those people in.
Yeah, that's
So
what I mean. You got to change. You got to go. You know what? If you keep doing that, I'm not voting for you anymore, Mister. I'll run. I'll run. Karen for councillor. And I'll go, right, everybody, put this into your backyard, get some chickens. Oh, chickens. Hang on. And then I'll go back to what interesting stuff Enzo has. Chickens. So in Australia, worldwide, apparently, there's bird flu. So here in Australia, down in Victoria, Holly might know off the top of her head because she watches a lot of news. I don't know where in Victoria it was, but there was a chicken farmer, and one of his chickens, or a couple of his chickens, had the bird flu. So all of his chickens, I think like 8,000 chickens, had to be destroyed because of the chicken flu or the bird flu, right? Then they started, they were with eggs. They were at our local supermarket, they were rationing how many eggs you could buy because of the bird flu. Then apparently Big Pharma is talking about a bird flu vaccine. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. That'll be the next thing. And I thought, I've got pet chickens. I've got 4 pet chickens. I don't need to buy my eggs. And my chickens do not have bird flu. I kiss them daily. I think I'd know.
That's right. They have little masks. Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because Holly's got chickens as well. And I thought, honestly, you can't do – that'll be the next thing, just to make sure no one has pet chickens. They'll come knocking on your door.
70 eggs in the fridge. Wow.
That's a lot of eggs, Holly. You need to cook them.
Yeah.
I've got – but yeah, my chickens, I've got 4 chickens. One does sneak inside the house through the dog door on a daily basis, and that's the one that wasn't well a few weeks ago, and I brought her inside and sat her on my knee for a good few hours because I thought, oh, God, she's going to die or something. But I think she must have just eaten something a bit weird and got a tummy ache, because she's fine now. But now, because she knows I looked after her and patted her and petted her and all that sort of thing, she knows. So she follows me around. They all follow me around, but her in particular, she'll come inside and want to cuddle. So, yes, I've got a chicken that comes through the doggy door. I love my chickens. But, yes, I don't know. One day us, human race, the normal people, us, like the regular people that have to work for a living and struggle to feed our families, will learn, and we'll try and vote in somebody that's not going to, I don't know if it'll ever happen. I think the aliens will have to interject for little normal people, because we don't get a choice. You don't even in America, you do though, don't you? You don't have to vote, I think, but I think that's kind of like a mistake. I think even though you don't have to vote, I think you should probably vote.
It should be like a bank holiday, I feel, so that people don't really have the excuse not to vote. It's like, oh, I had to work or whatever it is. Or it's too crowded by the time I got off work and stuff like that. You should try and make that as easy as possible to get there on the day to vote. Not mail in stuff. It's too easy to cheat. Not have it being a week long, because then it gets crazy too. So it needs to be like that. One day, everybody votes, count at the end of the day, done. It's it gets complicated and too easy to have issues that can crop up later, which people would scream about for years. So it's complicated, and everybody wants to try something new, and it doesn't always work.
I do have to say though, I think the human race, because of certain people that aren't scared to speak up, and aren't scared to tell us the truth. For the people who don't watch the mainstream so much and do really look into things, and I tell you what, watching Congress at work is an eye-opener. I've been watching that a lot lately. Crikey, you see it from both sides, so it's even but I'm sitting there going, whoa, I had no freaking idea. Like, you learn a lot from watching this Q&A that they do. But I think the human race is waking up. I think there's a change. I think it's going to get to a point where people are going to say, like, I'm going to write letters about the sun tax. I can tell you that now. I'm going to write letters to our government and say, that's disgusting. Just like, what? But I think the human race is we're waking up a bit. I think
So
we've got enough good people.
I can almost guarantee you that someone in your government gave like some kind of kickback if you put solar on your roof of your house like 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
And they're
they
like,
did.
"Oh, we'll give you some kind of tax rebate, because you're saving, you're putting energy back into the system, which means our system doesn't have to work so hard, and
That's right, and they
everybody work
did.
together, hooray!" And now they're going to tax you for it now that it's not as feasible anymore, or they
Well, I
just
think it's
need more
working
money
too
to spend
well.
on dumb stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I think what's happening is it's actually working too well, and people are not paying such big bill. I mean, I know my electricity bill isn't humongous because I've got 2 lots of panels, so I think that's like, oh, well, we're just going to start taxing him for the sun now. So yeah, it's a
that's so
bit weird.
stupid.
I know. But yeah, here in Australia, we have to vote. If you don't vote, you don't. People go and they draw donkeys on there. We call it a donkey vote. I don't know if you call it that in America, where you go to vote, but you really don't know who to vote for, so you don't put anything down. And a lot of people just draw a little picture of a donkey and then stick that. But I kind of think, it's kind of a wait, because what you don't realise is when you do that, I don't know how it works exactly, but they pick up the donkey votes, and all of those votes where people don't actually pick for someone go to, I think the already, I could be wrong, but it goes to the party that you might not like, whoever's got lower numbers, I think.
Right,
The
right.
way they tally it out anyway. So technically
It,
speaking,
in
although you haven't voted, it goes to someone.
in America, we have a
Tanya said
a write-in block, a moon tax.
a
That's
moon
what we
tax.
need. We need solar panels so sensitive that moonlight would actually create electricity. That would be great.
Yeah, well, as I said, that's the benefit that they're pushing now in regard to and that's a true quote. Don't worry,
So stupid.
you don't get taxed on any power that comes through your grid at night time.
At night.
Like, hell, you know.
Thanks.
Ian says spoiling a ballot is a democratic right.
Right. It's
Look,
in the U.S.
Yeah.
In the U.S., they have a blank spot on the ballots where it's called a write-in vote, where you can write in the name of whoever candidate you want. In most cases, it's a like an FU to the two candidates you do have a choice of, which both suck. And it's usually, Ronald McDonald or Mickey Mouse or something like that. But technically, if a lot of people all agreed to the same name, then that one name would, and it somehow won, technically that would be, you would have, Mickey Mouse for president or governor or whatever it is for whatever election it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't work like that here. But, what's Holly saying? A donkey vote is different to informal vote. Informal vote goes to no one. Donkey vote involves numbering it thoughtlessly and gets counted. Yeah, that's what I mean, Holly. It goes to somebody. I'm just not sure which party. I can't remember. I think it goes to the party that's already in power, but I could be wrong. Tanya says humans need to somehow begin all over again. Well, you never know. I mean, how many times have humans restarted? That's the other rabbit hole I've been going down and watching all these things about. I can never say it properly. Gwepi, get the really old thing. Say it again.
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe. I am intrigued with it in Turkey, isn't it? It's in Turkey. But just, and the amount of times when you realize how old it is. And so therefore, how many times have we've never obviously, well, I don't know, we've never obviously gotten to this point with computers and stuff because we've never found a computer underground, but we've certainly been advanced. And then something horrendous happens and we all just disappear. And then we start again and then we disappear again. So, we'll probably just keep doing that. Eventually, let's hope we all get through this year alive and nothing horrendous happens, given the current political thing. I'm not talking about voting. I'm talking about, Russia, just parked there down near Florida. Mr. Putin meeting with the little tubby boy from North Korea.
Kim
Um,
Jong-il, yeah.
yeah, and there's a bit going on. I think Mr. Biden's pissed off the Chinese. I'm not quite sure what he's done yet. I haven't read up enough on it. So there's a lot happening. Let's just well, let's just hope
Yeah.
and pray that nothing happens before friggin' anything.
It is strange that Putin would meet with Kim Jong-il like that, because North Korea doesn't have like this gigantic industry output kind of a thing that they would be meeting over, where they're going to
No,
supply.
they do have some things called BOMBs. Like they do have a few things. So
Russia
look,
doesn't have a shitload of bomb. Come on.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could just be a thing. But, I've spoken to some people I know who live in Florida. And, yeah, I wouldn't be too happy living in Florida right now. But, look, it could be completely innocent. It's probably just war games. I mean, we do it. Australia does it with America. So who's to say that? And they're not technically in American waters.
For the last, like, 60 years, Russia plays this game, especially up in Alaska. They do it a lot up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Where they send their bombers like right up to the edge of
And
that
then
little
stop.
international zone, and we have to send fighters up and all that game. They do that a lot, like several times a year, a lot. Even after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the fall of communism and all that, they still will fly their rickety old bear bombers right up to the edge. Kind of. It's just a game. It's a politics.
It's just a game, and it's what they do. And like President Trump went and met with Kim Jong Un, and that was a big thing. Like that was really good because we were worried about Kim Jong Un thing, and it was like shaking hands, and we thought,
little rocket man.
yeah, like he settled down, so that was a good thing. And then so I don't know, but yeah, they've always played this game. I mean, all the way back to the Cold War with JFK and all that. So but I'm still feeling positive, as much as there's a lot going on that's not good, and hopefully will be sorted out towards the end of the year. Hopefully nothing happens. I don't think anything bad will happen, but I kind of think something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm just hoping
not to get crazy with politics, but if you've been watching polls and stuff like that, and I'm not going to get into who you want to vote for.
No.
There could be, if the way the polls are leaning now, there's going to be a different president come November in the U.S. Russia may be looking at it as like, okay, if we're going to make our big move, we have to do it right now.
That's what I'm concerned about. Yeah, that's my concern.
We got 6 months to try and make our move if we're going to do it, because once that other guy gets in, hey, we're not going to get away with the crap we've been getting away with the last couple of years. So
no, and I'm hoping. Look, I'm hoping it doesn't, because you see, I love my friends in America, but the problem is if it happens there, and my American friends are in danger, we're all in danger. It's not just America, it's everywhere. So I'm hoping. And I know, Ian, actually, isn't the UK currently coming up to vote for a new prime minister? I'm not up on that politics per se, but I do know. I think England needs someone good in charge as well. I think there's a lot of problems in England as well. So I'm hoping everybody. I think the human race is becoming smart, and I think that when we see the stupid people, it's a minority. I'm hoping the humans are sort of starting to arc up a bit and say, hey, we vote you guys in. Stop taxing us for the sun, hey? And if we've got a well in our backyard, let us have our own water. That's our backyard. It's not your water. It's our water. Yeah, I think, Giselle, yes, Tanya, Putin does have nuclear weapons.
He's got plenty.
Cuba's got them as well, haven't they, Enzo? Cuba's got them. I'm not sure.
They say they don't.
Oh,
they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
If they do, they're rickety old 50s era, 60s era nukes that probably have not been properly maintained. So,
Well, Ian, because I am technically still coming, all things well, because I bloody paid for it over a year ago, I'm still coming to England in September. So I hope by the time I get there in September, you've got a wonderful new Prime Minister who can turn things around a little bit. That would be wonderful, because your current Prime Minister has obviously got some issues. But yeah, so I just want everyone to be happy, and I think all of us humans that vote for these people need to be a little bit more proactive, not in a stupid way where you know go walking down a street with a sign and hurling abuse at people, in a proper, let's have a conversation about it, like let's work, because everybody's different, we all think differently, we've all got different ideas, but there's always a middle ground. Do you know what I mean? There's always a
right.
middle ground. There's always a way we can always be happy. There's a way, I'm sure, that Russia and America and China and all the other countries, I'm sure there's a way we can all work nicely together. I think it's just a matter of trying not to let billionaires, as in the ones that own all the oil companies and stuff, they've got a little bit too much, but they have. Look at us. We're paying for power, and now I'm going to get taxed on the sun, for Christ's sakes. That's
Stupid.
that's just ridiculous. So and I think if governments say to all these big companies, yeah, no, we're going to start taxing you now. You make billions, and we're going to lower tax for our regular people who work a hard day's work and freaking.
Wouldn't the natural reaction by anybody that has solar panels on the roof, like in your situation, is like, hey, we're going to start taxing it? They're just going to unplug it. You're like, screw you. I'm not paying extra for giving you free electricity.
I know. I mean, we've got to stand up sometimes for ourselves, and in a good way, not in a like. I nearly died the other day. Did Ian? Freaking these idiots about what the hell is it? I can't even remember. This is what annoys me. I can't even tell you what it is they're going crook about. I think it's oil or something. Went and spray painted the freaking I've got a blank, Stonehenge. I nearly died.
Oh my God.
Orange paint all over Stonehenge. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm shocked that those stop oil stuff or whatever
That's them.
people
That's them.
haven't gotten the crap kicked out of them by people yet. That's got to be next. I can't believe that they did that like that. What's Stonehenge got to do with oil? I mean, what has that got to do with anything?
Yes, Julie. I was watching it on the news. It was a news thing. Well, when I say the news, the YouTube news. And I went, "You're kidding me!" Like they also went and did it to Taylor Swift's jet. Oh well, that's a jet. They can wash that down. But Stonehenge, like, it's so disrespectful. And they did it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ian. Didn't they do it to? Mind you, it probably looked better after they did it. They did something to.
Thing, I'll show you.
Oh, it was orange coloured stone.
Yeah, pull up my.
All right, Ian, but still,
pull up my share thing. You'll see it. I just pulled up a picture of it.
But look at that! How disrespectful! Oh well, thank God it wasn't spray paint then, Ian. Oh my God, can you imagine?
It's kind of like spray paint because you can see it's sticking to the stone here.
It's sticking to it. Yeah, you would have still had to have washed it all down. If I had been there and saw them, me at my old age, I would have ran and tackled them. I would have done a good old gridiron tackle. I would have boof.
You can see where it's sticking to the stone here and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, hopefully they'll be given it cornstarch. Then good. They can. Oh, good. Someone said something, and I missed it. Bugger. Yeah. I've missed it. I'm sure whoever said something to me before. So, but yeah, so much silly stuff. But I just love that everybody that comes in here to the chat. I am 100% positive that a lot of us do not think about the things the same way. But the thing I like about this is that even so, like I know Ian and I differ a little bit, but it's friendly, like it's.
Sure.
It's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's
There
okay.
there is something that because they threw all this stuff and it stuck to like the outer edges. Oh man, I lost it. There it is. Whoa, oh, I'm trying to zoom in on a picture. I can't zoom in. And what's going on with this imagery that suddenly
Oh,
revealed because the image? What's going on there? What are we looking at here?
it's called pareidolia.
I don't see a face. It's not looking back at me, but there are straight lines and like etched parts to this that I didn't realize were there with on Stonehenge.
Oh, it could be a dragon, says Tanya. It could be a dragon. Oh, I think it's a little girl with her puppy dog waving. Do you see what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. You're not allowed to get that close to Stonehenge, like where they are. You're not allowed to get that close anymore. So even if I go to England, I'll be very disappointed because you can't go up and look at it. Like you can't tactile. So why bother?
I know it
That's
is one
what
of those things. Is you do just want to go up and you want to touch it. You just want
I
to
want
feel
to touch
it.
it. Yeah, I mean, it's a rock. You can't. Well, you can't exactly, so long as there's people there watching you, security. I mean, I can't imagine you're going to be able to knock it over. I can't imagine. Oh, well, I suppose if you went in with a chisel and a hammer, you might be able to
Oh,
bit of rock.
I'm sure the druids would just appear out of nowhere and just club you to death. Probably.
Yeah. Could be a message from the aliens, Tanya. Indeed, it could be a message from the aliens. I tell you what, there's so much. The amount of different stories that you hear about things in the world, like Stonehenge and pyramids in America. What else was I watching? There could be another ancient civilization in America that was there. As a matter of fact, Mount Shasta. I've been watching stuff on Mount Shasta.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh wow!
Mount Shasta is one of the examples I use for hot spots that has the potpourri, the paranormal potpourri of everything. Where you get your ghost stuff, you get your UFO stuff, you get your cryptid stuff, you get all that stuff all wrapped up into a big bundle, like your Skinwalker Ranch and your Bridgewater Triangle and places like that, where you get all the weird in one place. And Mount Shasta is one of those places for sure.
But the interesting thing to me about Mount Shasta, Mount Shasta. I am too a nerd. I am a nerd. I'm proud to be a nerd. I was listening, and I haven't actually finished listening to it yet. So
Nerd!
She scared the life out of me, Enzo. Was the Indians, the Native Americans, say that before the Native Americans were there were other beings, or not beings, humans there that had at Mount Shasta that had an advanced civilization. So, and that, remember I was saying to you about, although it's not related, but I was saying to you, oh gosh, that looks like Aztec, where you went to visit. Where did you go to visit? It looks like ancient Aztec type.
Oh yeah, at the castle where I was at. Yeah, some of those ancient structures, that's kind of what they thought it was, is something from like Central South America. They thought it was an outpost because it's called Montezuma Castle, the place where
yeah.
And that's what they originally thought it was something from like southern Mexico, Central America. One of those ancient Aztec, Inca type civilization kind of things had built something very long ago, and it was like an outpost. But as it turns out, it wasn't. But the name stuck. So
but it's interesting that and as I say, I haven't finished listening to it yet. But it's interesting that the actual Native Americans say that they were not the first people there. There was another civilization first near Mount Shasta, and they were advanced, and it was more like the Aztecs. So it's really, and I'm trying to think, Antarctica. What's down near me? I always get confused. There's the Antarctic and the Antarctica. The
It's
one up near
Antarctica. Yeah, the one by
yeah,
near me
yeah,
is it's
Antarctic.
Arctic in the north, and in the south by you is Antarctica.
Oh, okay, so the Arctic. Apparently, there's pyramids,
Oh, the
and I'm
Black
like,
Pyramid in Alaska.
well, I heard of the Black Pyramid. I don't know if that's real, but I think it could be.
Who,
And then they've
who's
got
got
pictures.
who's got a lot of pyramids that we know nothing about because the way their culture is China has a bunch of pyramids we
Yeah,
don't
I
know
know.
anything about.
And
Yeah.
and then learning that because Tesla, it's not a rabbit hole. It's like, why don't I know that? Tesla thought that the pyramids were for making power. And then I was watching someone else talk about who had been into the pyramids in Egypt. And he said that, yes, there's all these different things within the pyramid that indicate that back in the time, because the pyramids were there way before, for example, Cleopatra, like they're older than that,
Right.
those people. And please don't push the buttons on my computer, puppy. He's laying on my keyboard. And they were indicating that they believed the pyramids generated power. And I'm like, holy crap. We could all put a little pyramid in our backyards and work out how that worked. I don't know. Oh, does Scotland have a pyramid as well? Does it? Where's Maisie? Maisie doesn't. Maisie might not be well. I should check on her later. If anyone has heard from Maisie, let me know. Our little Maisie Rose. I have emailed her. She hasn't answered, so I'm a bit concerned. I hope she's all right. Oh, hello, Dusty Lane. I saw that you came in, and Dr. Deb as well is here. Does Scotland have a pyramid? Does it really?
I don't know if it's a classical pyramid like we're talking about, but they do have a lot of underground type, underground, above ground type structures that I'm aware of that are thought of as sacred sites and burial mound kind of ideas. Like ancient America has a ton of these. There was a mound builder culture many thousands of years ago in America where they built these mounds, and there's just Google Serpent Mound in Ohio, and you'll
Oh,
see
that's awesome! The Serpent Mound, isn't it?
And apparently, the whole eastern half of the U.S. was filled with those. And when early settlers, European settlers, came along, they just plowed them under. It's what happened to a lot of those.
Oh, hello, Catherine. Yes, you dropped off the face of the earth too. I'm just seeing if you. Yeah, I just checked while Enzo was gabbing just now. I checked my emails. I still haven't heard from Maisie. Hope she's all right because she is unwell. Let me see. The Scottish pyramid is a monument to rinse. Oh, okay. So it's just I get it. So it's not a pyramid. It's a monument. Yeah. I used to watch a show back in the 70s and 80s called A Country Practice. I wonder if any of my Australian friends remember A Country Practice. And there was a character on that who had a pyramid made out of like just a wooden pyramid that didn't have sides. It was just sticks, and she'd sit under it and
Yeah,
and
the pyramid tower of the 70s was kind of a hippie thing for a little while.
It was, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, there's so many.
Tanya linked the Serpent Mound in there. That's good.
Oh yeah. It's super interesting. But yeah, and there's did you have something else to show there, Enzo?
I have a couple more things.
All right, go for it.
Aliens may already live on Earth, Harvard researchers say.
You've been waiting to do that all morning.
My thumb was over the button for like the last 20 minutes, but no, I'm kidding. This was a Harvard research teams have drawn up a paper basically with like an all-encompassing idea of what UFOs, UAPs could be. And it's very thorough. I have a little more of a breakdown here where they have several theories and they break out all the big words. Theory 1, human crypto-terrestrials. This theory suggests that an ancient human civilization, highly advanced, but mostly destroyed long ago, possibly by a flood, continues to exist in a hidden form. These humans live underground, away from modern society, using advanced technology to remain undetected. So that is one of they hit all the big theories here. Theory number
See,
2.
I should be at this university. I don't need a degree. I
That's
could have
right.
told them that.
I know.
I know that.
Theory
Go,
number
go.
2, hominid or theropod crypto-terrestrials, a non-human civilization of terrestrial animals like ape-like hominids or intelligent dinosaurs evolved to live in stealth. These beings could inhabit subterranean environments, usually sophisticated means to avoid detection by humans on the surface, which, as we know, somebody found the secret entrance to Agartha, which, where is he? There he is. There's the little guy right there.
Yep.
That's in Virginia City.
I did go there.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Theory 3, former extraterrestrial or extratemporeal crypto-terrestrials. This theory posits that these beings came from another part of the cosmos or from the human future and have concealed themselves, possibly on the moon, and they interact with Earth covertly, explaining some UFO sightings.
Ooh, I like
Now they
theory 4.
Now theory 4, magical crypto-terrestrials. Less like aliens, more like earthbound angels. These entities interact with the world in ways that are more magical than technology. They resemble mythical beings such as fairies, elves, or nymphs, blending seamlessly into folklore and legends. And I will approximately quote Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Magic is just tech that we don't understand. And all of these like 4 theories that they posited in this Harvard paper that they drew up, I agree with all of them. These are all actual possibilities, and now it's out in the open in black and white in this Harvard write-up. So there's certainly I think some Harvard undergrads that are watching the show, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I always thought that possibly we might have come from Mars originally, like some aliens might have come from Mars to here. But I still think I would really, really, really love to. Please, puppy. He's trying to get onto my keyboard. Yeah, I'm still of the opinion that somewhere along the lines, because of Neanderthal man and all that sort of thing, and we have to go back millions of years for this one. We'd have to, because I reckon at some point we've been genetically modified, and that's where actually Julie said here, if you put your feet on my keyboard again, boyo. He's got his
say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the fallen angel thing where they, I don't think it's angels like, ooh, God angels. I'm wondering if the fallen angel thing is aliens that have come to Earth, and for a regular person, uneducated human that never seen a spacecraft or anything before, if something crashed to the ground and this big being got out of it, you may think that that's a god. Like, oh my God, it's a god. And then they mate with the humans and make babies, and then we suddenly become a little bit smarter. I don't know. So I don't know. There's so much. There's so much we could be. I kind of like to think about all the possibilities, because it's magical in a way.
It really is, because I mean, these are all technically possible. And that's what a Harvard study has come up with, where it kind I mean, obviously people are going to be like magical fairies or thing. Honestly, all those old stories are kind of very similar to what we hear from people that have been abducted by aliens, of being lured into the woods and missing time and disappearing for a period of time and then coming back. There's a lot of similarities there with a lot of those old stories and what we hear currently from people that say that they've been abducted. It's kind of creepy.
Well, yeah, I was thinking myself, I would love to talk to Travis Walton, but there's questions that I'd like to ask him that I don't think I've ever heard anyone else ask him. So I'm not going to say what they are in case I ever get opportunity. I don't know how I would, but I would love the opportunity to talk to him and ask him certain questions about that time on the ship, because I believe him. I absolutely believe it. I don't think he's lying.
I got to see him in a couple of different panels, Contact in the Desert, and he was very funny, but he was polite about it, where somebody would talk about, well, these aliens are here from, Alpha Centauri, and they're love and light. Everyone needs to be peaceful and all that. And
well, they weren't so nice.
Travis would be like, well, from my experience, they weren't really love and light. They just kind of zapped me, and then I got mad at him, but they said it was just patching me up. So he would throw his own input in there based on what he experienced versus saying that they were wrong, which I thought was funny.
Again, down the rabbit hole, I've seen other people discuss the fact that indeed these Tic Tacs and all these sorts of things we see aren't alien. They're actually us. It's just that it's a cover up, and not by the government. It's us. We've gotten to the point where we can make that. But someone actually went to the extreme of saying that some of these abductions, yes, they're happening, but it's not aliens doing it. So they're insinuating that when people are getting abducted and these things are happening to them, that they're us.
Right. It's called a My Lab experience, which is military lab thing, is where basically you're almost like hypnotized into imagining aliens when it's actually like military people that are grabbing you out of your bed and doing medical experiments on you and then dumping you back into bed.
Yeah, out of bed, I find that one hard to believe. But I think if you're in the middle of the desert somewhere that you shouldn't be, and all of a sudden you're abducted, maybe you're not abducted because there's so many. Okay, so when I had my operation, and they knock me out, I can't tell you anything now about that. All I can tell you about my operation is the point up to where they put the cannula in my hand, because they give me a particular drug, and I can't remember a freaking thing. I want to, but I can't. All I can remember is up to them, that, and then them saying, we'll go in soon. That's all I remember. Now, if you're in the middle of the desert somewhere and they've got, something that can appropriate a big light that's beaming down on you or whatever, there'd be other drugs that can actually make you forget, and they could probably make you remember shit that didn't really happen. So there's probably ways people can scare the shit out of you and it's not even real. But I still do believe that Travis Walton was abducted. That's too long ago. I still believe it happens. I still believe there's something going on. Just don't know who yet or what. And we may never find out. Who knows? But I'm just hoping one day, maybe not in my lifetime, hopefully in my children's or my grandchildren's lifetime, I just hope one day everyone can be like we are here now and just talk and be kind and live and be happy and not worry about bombs going off and not worry about stupid cancers anymore and shit. Just be happy. And in the short time we've on the planet, have your imagination, even if it's just your imagination and you believe in fairies and things. Why not? Makes me happy to believe there could be fairies. Makes me happy to believe there could be goblins. I don't really believe. Maybe there could be fairies. Who knows? Little people, but they don't look like the pretty ones with the wings, They're probably just little people who live in the forest in an alternate dimension, and they only come out sometimes. I know, I've gone off. Actually, the Battle of Los Angeles, I know a little bit about that, but I don't think anyone truly has debunked that yet. They sort of say that it could have been this or it could have been that, but there was a lot going on at that time. That
Right.
photo, though, that famous photo, I know
Yeah, all the
that was.
spotlights in it.
It's like a photo of a photo or something. No one has the original anymore, so that photo is a photo of a photo. And so therefore, although it does look like they've got the lights trained on one object, but they were saying that it could have been, there were balloons that were being released at the time, and they think it might have been enough to spook them because it was just after Pearl Harbor.
Japan actually released quite a few balloons that had bombs tied to them. They weren't really designed for, like, because they would launch them from Japan, and they would just float through the jet stream across the Pacific and come down in like the western part of the United States. And their idea was, they were all incendiary bombs. Their idea was like to catch forests and stuff on fire and things.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like to try and bomb cities or anything like that. But as far as the actual Battle of Los Angeles, is the people that were manning those guns, the people that were manning those spotlights, the whole thing, were expecting something, some kind of response like that on the West Coast from Japan. And they certainly saw something. I don't think they're just shooting up in the air and then they're shooting because someone else was shooting, kind of a thing. There was something there that they were shooting at.
And for all those lights, even though that photo can't be completely reliable because of the fact that they no longer have the original, all of those lights, regardless of that, were focused all on one thing. Now, is it possible they were focused in on one of those things? Sure. But it's interesting. And also there's other documentation in regard to pilots and different people during World War II that did come back and report seeing weird metallic saucer-like vehicles.
The European theater had a lot of reports of what they called Foo Fighters, which were just orbs, like large red glowing orbs. The Pacific theater seemed to have more structured craft type things that they saw. That's not as widely reported as because when the big push through Europe to get rid of the Germans there, and afterwards they're like talking to the Germans like, hey, what were those lights, those red globy things you guys were always like, we thought those were you. We thought you guys were doing that because we were seeing them too. So both sides thought it was the other side, whatever these things were. So they didn't really even think that this could be some third party.
Yeah, it's all really fascinating, and there's so much to the thing I've been learning lately. Again, watching the Congress stuff as a girl growing up, and I do love America. As a girl growing up, I always knew when you would hear stories, the CIA, you had to be careful of because, they were the ones, they're like, the MI5 and all that sort of things, spy type stuff, right? But the FBI was always like, you can trust the FBI, like they're awesome because they do such good stuff and everything. But I've been watching Congress go in on not the CIA but the FBI, and I'm like, oh, serious? And talking about cover-ups and all for stupid things. And I'm like, you're kidding me? And I'm like, oh no, that means, how much stuff that we should know, we all should be told about, don't get told about. And I think, so who the hell knows what all these things are, because they do get covered up, and they do. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's like they do. Like at the moment, I'm watching him talk about covering up stuff about, Biden taking bribes and stuff. So I'm watching that thinking, oh my God, like seriously? And I'm like, so if they can cover up something like that we all should know about, what are they covering up that they don't want us to know about in regard to this sort of thing, Like, Yes, I am Nancy Drew. I used to love Nancy Drew books, but I just, like I'm very open minded. Like I listen to a lot of stuff and then I think about it logically, and I think, okay, they're saying that, but what's the other side to the story? So I always try to get both sides to the story. But I always wanted to be a detective, Tanya. Oh, that's a picture. Just for those who don't know, that's that picture of the Battle of Los Angeles. You can see the lights all shining up, the spotlights. They were big spotlights all over Los Angeles, Hollywood, like coming out from everywhere, the hills and stuff, all shining on one object there. And from my understanding is those little spots of white that you see in there, and even the bright thing, that's kind of like, what's the word we use?
They're anti-aircraft. Basically, it was like an explosive they would fire up in the air, and then when it gets up to a certain altitude, it explodes. A flak cannon or various other.
So you can see what you're firing at. So that is. So my understanding is that photo is what the fellow who took it, the journalist, that's the photo that appeared in the newspaper.
Yes.
And somewhere along the lines, I bet it's not lost. I bet you someone's got the original. But anyway, somewhere along the lines, the original negative for the photo got lost, but some were printed. So most of the photos you see now are photos of that photo. And that is why, it's hard to judge, Well, actually, I've been very good, and we've got 4 minutes left, Enzo. We've got 4 minutes left. And it's a special treat because, why not? Just as a special treat for those of you who have stayed here with me for the full 2 hours and listen to us talk about all sorts of things, I'm going to let you see the other, whatchamacallit, what do you call it? My thing I made. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Ian and I, if I can catch up with you in England when I get over there, we will have a cup of tea. I'd like a cup of tea and some good scones or a nice stew, a good English stew. Yes, so I made some new things, So Tanya lovingly gifted some memberships earlier, so she got to see the Raining Men. And but I guess because people have stuck here, how many of you? 17 of you are here. So I'll show you my other little thing I made for, next time if anybody gives me anything. Where is it? Are you ready? Enzo doesn't like this one. He says it's sad. All right. He says it's sad. Yeah, it's got a sad ending. I thought it was meant to be funny. Here you go. I'll show it to you all. You ready? Here we go. There you go. Creepy Doll says it's cute. Yes, I will contact you shortly and have a chat to you. Maybe this week we could do something. Rosard. So there you go. Oh, well, it's been a fun live. We've talked about a lot of things. Nobody's gotten into arguments, which is really, really good. My throat held out with the sips of water.
No, you're doing great.
Yeah. So I hope everybody we're going to keep it at this time. I think Enzo works for me because, and I know it's late for Ian or early for Ian in England, but it works for me only because after the operation, for whatever reason, guys, while I'm healing, I'm just really struggling getting up without any issue. I will normally get up at 5 in the morning. I get up, I do my thing and I'm up, but I'm struggling a little bit at the moment. So I find that I'm just needing to sleep that little bit longer. But I think this is good. It's good for Enzo because now it'll be Enzo's bedtime. I'm sure.
This
And
this is an appropriate hour for me to drink more whiskey. Is why I like this time. So
there you go. So I'm going to start working on another episode. And I won't, if you haven't seen my Black Eyed Children episode, it's only 10 minutes, but it was a bit of fun. For those of you who don't know, you know my thoughts on AI. I don't like AI, but I did use it for this because I wanted some celebrities to read my narration because I couldn't talk for much longer than a couple of minutes, and I was like that. So go watch it. I did one. And what do I think about Black Eyed Children? Not much. but I had a theory on the ones that they see in Canuck. Did I say it properly, Ian? Canuck. Ian will tell me in a minute. He tells me when I don't say it. Canuck chase. I've got a theory. I think that might just be ghosts. And the artwork used in it was drawn by my daughter. So yes. So there you go. All right, I'm going to go. And thank you so much. And same time, same back station next week with Enzo and I. And we'll have more Canuck. Thank you, Ian. Canuck chase. So go watch my Black Eyed Children video and let me know what you think. It, like I said, it's 10 minutes. And let me know what you think. And I'm going to start working on another one this week. And I look forward to seeing you all again next weekend. And I might pop in through the middle of the week with Rawside if she's available and have a chat about some other stuff. And that's it. And have a wonderful Saturday night. Is it Saturday night where you are, Enzo?
yes, it is. It is Saturday night.
It's Saturday night. So have a nice Saturday night. And to Tanya, thank you for being a great moderator again for me. And I'll talk to you all through the week. And love you lots. And thank you for all the support over the last few weeks too. It's meant a lot. See you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.